Hello and welcome back to another episode of Inside the Asperger Studios. My next guest is a playwright who's written 3 plays all about autism. He's from Canada and he's autistic as well. So sit back, relax, and grab your favorite beverage and let's learn more about him. See you there.
I wanna believe in the truth, but only see what I'm shown. Got the freedom to choose, but can't decide on my own. Follow what the group is thinking, bottle up my intuition till it's popping out.
Hello and welcome back to this very special edition of Inside the Asperger Studios. Today I have Matteo. How do you say your last name, Matteo? Esposito, right?
Yes, Esposito. Yes, sir. That's
I
right.
have Matteo Esposito on my show.
Mm-hmm.
Not only an autistic playwright, he likes to sing, and
Thank
he's had one of his plays debut in New York City.
That's right.
Welcome
Yeah.
to the show, Matteo.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, young man. Thank you, sir.
So why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself first?
Absolutely, of course, of course. So, like you said, my name is Matteo Esposito. I am a 26-year-old autistic person. I live in Ontario, Canada, and I'm a playwright. I also am a set designer, a little bit of non-union set design as well. I'm a singer-songwriter as well. And basically, the reason that I do what I do, write plays about autism, is to, like we were talking about before, share that it's okay to be different. It's okay to have autism. It's okay to be a different person. In my opinion, we're all different. If you think every single person is different, there's a saying in the autism community that I love, but it can go to each and every person as well. If you met one person with autism, you only met one person with autism, or if you met one autistic person, for people like that, you met one autistic person. That's the same for a human. If you met one human, you only met one human. Why do we have to put people in categories when we all act? And that's just, honest to God, that's just my saying. That's just what I think. Like, we put stuff in categories. We think some things are normal. Well, nothing's normal. Actually, in life, abnormal, if you think about it. Yes, go ahead.
I mean, you brought up a very good point.
Right.
And one of the biggest things is, I think what divides us as autistics is labels.
Yeah. Yep.
You have your high functioning, you have your low functioning.
Yep.
You get rid of those labels. We're one. We're all in one. We're autistic. Yes, we are better off than others because we can deal with life better than others. But we're all the same.
Exactly. Like we are all one on this planet. Why can't we actually be one? Think about that. For the people who are listening, why does this world have to be so tough for anybody? I do know why, and it's quite sad, to be honest with you. I want to get into a little bit of this because, if you don't mind, I'm a very spiritual person, but I also want to talk about moral beliefs. And what I mean by that is, I learned very early on that if I wanted to be in the quote unquote entertainment industry, I have to do 3 things morally: work hard, never give up, and of course have confidence in myself and my abilities, and to keep reaching for those goals. Not many people have that, and I learned that very early on at the beginning of grade 7, end of grade 6. It's a very special story that goes with that. But it gets me teary-eyed every single time because this man who inspired me, he's just one of a kind, and I always mention him. And I'm starting to get emotional now, but it's a good emotional. Like, I don't know if it's not tears of pain, it's not tears of joy. It's just tears that I wish humanity could get better from my story and from the stories of us. So let me paint you a picture, if that makes any sense. So the beginning of grade 7, sorry. In the summer of that year, I was moving to a new school. I was transitioning from the end of grade 6 to the beginning of grade 7. New school, new something, and I happened to see a great musical called Jersey Boys. Jersey Boys is one of my all-time favorite musicals, not because of the guy who played Frankie, which I'm going to tell you about in a second. And he played the lead at 6 times a week. There was an alternate that played 2 performances. But he basically done that. People think Jersey Boys is all about family. It is, but it's also about dreams. It's also about integrity, dreams, everything that people want in a gritty, honest story about a band that grew up on the blue collar. And that reminds me of so much of myself, honestly, because, and I shouldn't, right? But because they worked extremely hard, Frankie Valli and the Pussy, Frankie Valli, Bob Gaudio, Tommy DeVito, and Nick Massey. They worked very hard to become where they are today, which is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And actually, Frankie Valli is still 89 and he tours. But just to stand there at 89 years old in front of a huge audience and just to even just, you don't even have to sing, just even standing there, God bless the man, because he still has it in him to tour and to do that. But back to the story. So I saw that show. Then honestly, and so the CYC, not the CYC, sorry, the Special Education Resource Teacher comes in, says, we are writing letters to fan letters to stars. I'm like, and he had a whole list of Disney Channel names and Universal names and everything. I said, okay, I don't want to write to those people because I know who would write to those people. I'm not one of those kinds of people. But I decided to write this to this amazing, God bless this man, Jeff Madden, who played Frankie Valli in Jersey Boys. So the story goes that I submitted the first letter. I wrote him a one small page fan letter. He put Frankie, the Toronto production, North York, when Dan Cap was around. For those who remember, Dan Cap, it was like the live event of the time. Live event produced Phantom and Joseph in Toronto, even Cats. But the biggest production in Toronto, Canada was Phantom. For Dan Cap, it was Jersey Boys, and you can see why. The Canadian cast, I have to tell them, it was sublime because they put it, not because they were Canadian, they were professional, because they knew how to tell a story. I don't care that we got people from Stratford Festival, Shaw Festival, to come together and to tell. Basically, this was Jeff Madden's first equity production in Toronto, first Broadway musical, and he friggin' knocked it out of the park. But not just that. So at the beginning, so I waited a few weeks. I'm like, I'm not going to hear from this guy. I even wrote two Broadway actors. So the story goes that the last week of September, I get my teacher, who actually taught the other day, believe it or not, my grade 7 teacher. He at the time, he was my grade 7 teacher. Now he's like, he's acquaintances now, right? Of course. But he said to me at the time, Matteo, you need to go to the bathroom. And I said, okay, like, why not? Let's give, not knowing what was actually going to happen. And not knowing that this man and this experience will actually change my life forever. Let me go in deeper. So I go to the washroom, down the hallway. The minute I touch the door handle of the washroom, I see my mom and dad, the CYC, and everybody crowding around this guy. So I thought it was the superintendent to give me an award. Again, it wasn't. It was much more than that. Much more than that. And I thank God, thank my lucky stars, thank God, whoever I up there. Because if this didn't happen, I would not be in this industry today, number one, and I would not be the person who has the most, what that Frankie had and what Jeff taught me. So I go back to the bathroom, sorry. I go and I wash my hands, blah, 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 blah. Then the teacher, I go out to the washroom, go back in and wash your hands. So this was way before COVID, okay? Way before COVID. I'm not trying to be rude. For the people who know what happened, well, we all know what happened, right? But honestly, so I go and wash my hands. I come out, I was pissed because now, okay, my parents are here. They're crowding around somebody. She's trying to keep a secret from me. It was like, you're going to be going in and you're going to have a surprise in the room. I don't like that because I'm autistic, right? I don't like, you know what I mean, right? Who would? With being an autistic person. I was in grade 7. I was very young at the time. Honestly, so I went out. I grabbed my teacher's shirt and I said, you better tell me what's going on or I will freak. And he told me, Jeff Madden, not Jeff, but somebody from Jersey Boys is here to see you. And first of all, chills ran down my body. And I knew who it actually was. I was actually scared to actually go into the classroom to meet him. Thank you know,
You know,
and
let me
no,
tell you something.
yeah, please.
I've had a similar experience just recently.
Right,
I, with my podcast, I reach out to people. My mom and I just came back from watching Shakespeare's Richard III,
right.
and the lead character was a woman who was a
Ah,
double amputee
wow,
by the name of Katie Sullivan.
that's amazing.
She blew it out of the water. I mean,
But
she was
not even good. That's great.
90, I mean, like you would say, she was 90% in this play. It was all her.
Of course,
All her
yeah.
lines, all her monologue, everything. You felt the emotion. You felt the deceit of the character.
Wow,
And
that's
as
amazing.
we're leaving the play, my mom and I were blown away, and I go, I gotta get her on my show. My mom's
Hmm.
like, go ahead, find a way and get her.
Yeah.
So I look her up. I find her website.
Hmm.
I write, I go into the contact area and I go, hi, my name is Reed Miles. I'm a podcaster. My
Right.
podcast is all about disabilities. I would love to have you on my show. I've
Hmm.
seen you at Shakespeare and you just blew it out of the water.
Hmm.
I wait maybe a week or so, and all of a sudden I see an email from somebody I don't recognize. It's her manager. Hi,
Wow.
Reed. And regarding Katie, why don't you tell me a little bit more about your show,
Of
and we'll
course,
see
yes.
if she's a good fit. So I email him back. I'm like, well, my show is rated #2 in the autism podcast world. Um, Here's my numbers for the downloads in the US and in England. My show is not just about autism, it's also about those who have disabilities, and
Right.
I like to showcase them. He's like, oh, then I send it back. He's like, and then he comes back with me within a day or so. He's like, Reed, um, wow, you have an impressive thing going on here. Right now, Katie's in the middle of another big project, but let's get her on your show this summer.
Wow.
So yeah,
How I have to ask you, how is that having her on
that
your
to
show?
have that email and have him say
Yeah,
she'll be on your show, that was phenomenal for me
right.
because
I would
she
imagine.
will be like one of the big three people I've had Dr. Temple Grandin on my show.
Of course, yeah, I recognize that name very well.
Um, I've had somebody from a TV show called Xena on my show
Okay.
who was pretty big, and I'm a big fan of the show, and that
Mm.
was amazing.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
her, Katie, coming on the summer. I mean, that's pretty prominent
yeah.
to me
Correct.
because not only is she a actress, she's
Hmm.
also a Paralympian who's a four-time
Wow.
record holder in track and field,
Holy-
and
That's
she
amazing,
goes around speaking.
of course. And I think that's, first of all, that's great. That's amazing. And I think that's what people need: hope, inspiration. Like when Jeff came, and I'll tell you, if my story's not finished yet, but I love what you said. I honestly love what you said. So I walk in back to the classroom, and 3 to 4 feet away, I'm seeing this guy 3 to 4 feet away, and he turns to me. And I'm like, again, no words. I'm like, I didn't even want to go in the classroom. I walked out of the classroom, and I went like this, and I said, if I touch this guy's hand, I'm dead. Fortunately, I'm not dead, but
No,
honestly, right? Because I'm so scared. Like I'm in grade 7, I'm autistic. I have all these, and not only was he a nice man, but he gave me my career. Basically, let's just say that, and it gets me so emotional every single time because
see what people don't realize is one little inspiration for us sets
exactly,
us off in a path because
exactly,
our minds get locked into
yep,
that that path. It's where we
hmm,
want to go, and that's how we decide what we want to do in our life.
exactly. And he basically told me to, well, he gave me backseat passes, of course. He gave me a plaque poster, but he gave me a card, and he actually hand wrote the card. And I always get, like I said, I always get emotional, and I don't care what anybody thinks. But he told me to believe in myself, which is like
That's a
honestly,
true that's a
it,
true
it,
message. I mean, we all should
it,
believe in ourselves
we all should have
because
exactly.
I mean, you
Well,
think about it, Mateo, there's a
mhm,
lot of us out there who don't
of
because
course,
we don't have
I,
the support. You and I have support,
Yeah.
And we have the guidance. Go on.
Sorry, I agree with you. But I'll tell you something. For the people who don't believe in themselves, they're comfortable. Listen to this. We have to believe in ourselves to the point where we're uncomfortable. And that's where we take the most. If you think about it, because most people don't want to go out of their comfort zone. Oh, no, I'm not going to do that. It might benefit you, but you might fail. But fail means first attempt at learning. That's what FAIL means, first attempt at learning. And people don't know that. That's the acronym for fail. People don't know that, first attempt at learning. Like I'm in college right now, and I was talking to one of the professors. I'm in tech theater school, and honestly, the guy told one of the professors told me, "Yeah, these kids are afraid to fail." I'm like, "What? Why? Fail's just a word. It's all in your head. It's all in your friggin' head." The same thing with fear. The same thing with fear. Think about it. You can't touch it. You can't hold it. Fear is like the absence of your mind. That's why people F with you, because people want to make you fearful for the future. Why do you think they create dumbass scary movies, excuse my language? To make you scared. To make you scared for the future. It's that sad that people want to make us so scared of what's going to happen when we should all have confidence. Honestly, I'm sorry, but that's the truth, and it's the truth.
No, it's funny you mentioned something about stepping out of your comfort zone.
Right.
That's what I'm all about.
Good.
Is stepping out of your comfort zone.
Good.
I'm writing a book, and it's basically my life with lots of messages in it. But at the very end of my book, I basically say, listen, you got to step out of your comfort zone. You can't sit in your zone the rest of your life. Your family's gonna go. Your family's gonna die, and you'll be on your own.
Of course.
You're gonna look back, and you're gonna realize I could have, should have, would have.
Exactly.
And if you don't take that chance, you are going to regret your life.
Of course. And that's what people don't understand. Like, what is fail? What is fear? Those are words. Those are words.
Fear, I mean, Matteo, what people don't realize, failing is a learning experience. That's all it is.
Exactly. I agree with you, Eden.
And people don't realize, a lot of people, if they haven't failed in one thing, they wouldn't have found the one thing they're good at.
Right.
Now, let's get to know you a little bit better. When were you diagnosed?
Good question. Age 7. Age 7, I was diagnosed.
When you got diagnosed, did you tend to see the world change around you?
Not at the time. Not at the time. Like, honestly, I saw people drift away from me. And ghosting is one of the biggest things that the special needs community and any diverse community experiences. It's sad because once we say that, quote unquote, we're different, they want to step back. They actually want to step back and say, I don't want to be your friend anymore. I don't want to be around you. Why is my question? One word. Why?
Why? Because it's the imposter syndrome. People think autism is something contagious or bizarre or weird, and we act strange. They want nothing to do with it.
Of course. And that's how we break up this world. That's not how we bring people together. That's how we break up this world. If people think like that. And this is a great saying in Sondheim's Into the Woods, which is a great musical Sondheim. I wish I wrote this line, but I didn't. But I'll tell you guys something. Think about it for the parents who are listening. Careful of the things you say. Children will listen. Children will not obey, but they will listen. They're like sponges, people. That's why the media and the music start them at age 5. Think about it. Honestly.
That reminds me of a story a guest told me.
Go ahead. Sorry.
He now does him and his wife help people find friendships and relationships and stuff.
That's fantastic.
But just telling me a story. He was at the JCC. And he was talking about dating and all this and finding to a group of autistic people.
Yeah.
And afterwards, he goes to the head of it and she goes, how was it? And he's like, I don't think they heard a word I said. All they had their heads down and everything. She's like, you're wrong. They were listening.
Hmm.
They may not look at you, but they were listening to you.
Exactly.
And that's what
Exactly.
people don't, and that's what people don't understand about us is we may
Exactly.
not make eye contact, but we
Yeah,
hear every word you say.
exactly. And words impact us. In fact, I would like to actually read you just a tiny bit of actually a few of my plays. One is Sorting It Out, which actually went to New York, and I want to read you the monologue that Nick says to the audience. And it's exactly what we're trying to talk about. So basically, it's in scene 3. It starts in scene 3, and I'll tell you about the play after. But
Well, I'm going to
okay,
ask you about the place though.
yeah, go ahead. Thank you. But let me start. So basically, all the characters are off. Bob, who is the helper, who's the kind of homemaker or the caretaker of Nick, who's autistic, a middle-aged autistic man. He leaves to go to the store. Okay, so Nick is there with the audience. This is what he says: "You've all heard the saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Pay attention, as you might find out that words may hurt more than action sometimes." And then the other characters come in, and that's the only time we break the fourth wall where our character speaks. We don't have audience parts like kind of happen along kids. I hate that stuff as an artistic. I hate that participation. But as an audience member, you're a fly on the wall. You're peeking in and to this world that we're only scratching the surface with using a play, a one act, 30-minute play, 30 minutes. And you can tell a story in even you can tell a story even in a minute, a good
Hmm.
story even in a minute. And that's another thing that people don't understand about writers. I'm like, you don't have to be quote unquote good with English, like write an essay or write a book report to become a playwright. You have to know what people say. You have to understand what people say. And most of what people say, I hate to say, is stupid because the world is
Hmm.
stupid. I hate to say that. And I'm not trying to bash this world, but like honestly, I've seen so much crap go down in my high school, in college even. There's a lot of stuff that happens in college that is backdoor business. Like they won't tell the public, but they, you know what I mean? Oh, yeah, we'll take care of the kid. And when the door closes, right. That's what I call backdoor business. They basically be nice at the door, but then bang, and that's sad to
Yeah, it
anyone.
is.
But that happens every single day, probably every minute of every single day, and
I
that's why I
mean,
wrote what the plays that I do.
yeah.
Go ahead, Reed. I'm sorry,
No, it's all right. So we know what got you into playwriting.
but yep,
Tell me now, let's talk about the plays you've written.
absolutely, yes. So I've written 3. One is about autism. All 3 about are autism based, with an autistic character in each. And the first play was Sorting It Out, and I basically, sad enough, Reed, and for the people who are listening, it's based on a true story that happened to me. And I think those are the best kind of stories. When something actually, no, it's not based on a book. It's not based on a novel. It's not based on a music soundtrack. It's not based on a movie, which most musicals and plays are. Right? Movies. Come on, do something original. In my opinion, of course. But it's based on an experience that happened to me. And only me. I saw it through my ears. My ears, my senses, right? I think those are the best kind of stories. Not based on a true story that happened that people know about. That's good. That's more natural than the physical product turning into another physical product, if you know what I mean. It's a physical entity, anyway. But the story goes that, and I'll tell you the story, and it really hits quite deep. But I didn't manage to honestly dwell on the experience. I decided to write a play. I said I had enough. I wanted to write a play. But here's my question to everybody that's listening and everybody who basically hears this podcast. Why would I need to write a play about people being kind when we should know how to treat people? You know what I mean? When we should know how to treat people. It's the simple question to how you were taught, how you were raised, what kind of music to use. It's all the influence, it's all the crap that's around us. And we forget who we actually are as people inside, who we actually what we actually want to do. Because most people don't want to know what they want to do. I'm not in this industry for fame, fortune, and money. Fame, popularity. If anybody's in this industry, or if anybody wants to be in this industry as a writer, I'll tell you one thing, you will not make that much money, but you have to love what you do. Yeah, you do it for the love of not even the craft. I don't even do it for the craft of writing. I do it to the craft of teaching, inspiring, and making people honestly so uncomfortable in their seats that they think about the world around them. And I think that the best kind of thing, and that's what Sorting It Out has compared to most plays. Most plays are comedy based. Most plays are who killed somebody or joke after joke after joke, right? Murder mysteries, right? Agatha Christie, Neil Simon, Norman Foster for the Canadian people who are listening. All these great playwrights who I'm not dissing, they're great, but there's very rare plays that make people so uncomfortable and so disturbed and so that it's actually quite sad. And that's what we are lacking in the theater, basically, in my opinion. We are lacking, whether it's Broadway, off-Broadway, off-Broadway, or regional, we're lacking plays that make people think to the point of, I need to think about my actions around this world now they watch the play. And sometimes it will go in one ear and out the other in an audience member. And to me, that's sad. But for the people who are actually listening and actually watching this, like, it's a beautiful thing. It kind of gets back to a ritual, but I don't want to get into that. But it's like better than a flat screen 2 TV, kind of 2-screen TV. You're live with a room of people. You're watching this almost this dark, eerie event unfold on stage about this middle-aged autistic man who gets honestly bullied, mistreated, shunned by an ignorant, stereotypical millennial. You guys remember those, right? And you know what I mean, right? For the people who are listening, you guys know. And honestly, and to me, on a side note, they get more stupider every year. I'm sorry to say that, but this generation, I'm 26, and even my generation is purely stupid. And I'm surprised I can talk, like, I can write a play and I can have the rationale to think about fear, about morals, about how to get and then people don't even know what they want to do in life. They don't even know who they are in life. I know who I am. First of all, I'm a child of the Creator, number one, for the people who believe. Number two, I am an inspiration to people. And I don't care what anybody says. As long as you don't say, oh, you're so inspiring for me putting a shirt on or brushing my teeth, right? You know what I mean, right? I hate people like that but I love when people, oh, you would have played, that's so inspirational, congratulations. I love that. It doesn't give me pride. I don't write plays just to hear that. If people think that, then they're stupid, honestly. But honestly, though, that's why I do this. I want to provoke and inspire change. And going back to the story of Sorting It Out when it actually happened, I was on a transit bus that day, Route 13 out of all numbers, 13. Unlucky number, of course. But that's not my point. So I went on the bus, tapped my little card, my bus card with a pesto for the Canadians. So it's like a bus card, fare pass, whatever. Stood out at the back of the bus. Was it with the driver? Was one of the younger passengers? He looked a little bit older, so he turned around and he said, he turned back to me. I was at the very back of the bus. He said, I remember you from somewhere. And I don't remember him, of course, but and I said, I don't know you from a hole in the wall, man. Like, I don't understand, like a stereotypical millennial, but I don't usually use man and all these slang words. I don't like it because that's not who I am. And he said, but I remember you. You were with Brandon. Now, Brandon was a person, I knew a bunch of Brandons. Who are you talking about? I didn't say this, but I felt like saying, sir, be more specific. But of course, to get him off my hair, because I don't really like interacting with people because I'm autistic. Yeah, now I remember you. Yeah, of course. You have to play along sometimes, right? So he said, oh, great. 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 Where are you off to today? I said community living Oakville. Now, community living Oakville with all the special needs, it's like a special needs hub for the people who, it's a day program, basically, for people with special needs. So the moment I said that, this is his reaction. That's nice. And at the next stop, he walked off the bus. He just looked at the bus driver. He didn't even say thank you. And then at the next stop, he got off into the forest. And I knew it wasn't his stop. And by the way, he looked like a businessman. He looked like nice cream-colored, button-down shirt, like collar shirt, nice cream-colored dress pants, like that. this goes to show you, and he was young. He looked like he was in like college age. And that's how, so I was so angry at him that I left community living early that day. And I said, and I walked into I walked into my house, which is this one. I said, Daddy, which is my dad, Daddy, give me a piece of paper, give me a pen, and I'm writing something down. And at the kitchen table, I wrote my first draft of Sorting It Out. That day, that night. That was remarkable.
Bravo.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Reed. Of course, but I'll tell you something. It felt like this guy was kind of quote unquote following me around, if you know what I mean. Like the words are coming at me. There's a line in Sorting It Out that I would love to hear. It's my favorite line of the play. So Bob, like, you should understand people with autism or spectrum needs. Do you understand? Now Ed, who's ignorant, who's arrogant and ignorant, he blurts out something. He blurts out, society doesn't understand, so why should I? Think about that. When you guys are born into a society, who do you follow? Yourself or society? You follow the group, right? But in most cases, we should think for ourselves. But of course, the influencers and the influencers, if you guys know what I mean, the influencers, and I'm not just talking about the government, the people who own the government, hint, hint, hint. Yes, yes, there are people that own the government. Listen to that.
I mean, the biggest problem is this.
Yeah.
That people don't understand us. They think, a lot of those of us on the spectrum think, oh, we want to blend in. But what they don't think is, we weren't, and this was told to me by one of my guests. She's like, I wasn't put here to blend in. I was put here to stand out. I'm autistic. I'm meant to stand out.
Exactly.
Different from everyone else. Why do I want to be like you, and you when I can be like me?
I want to be a guy who works 9 to 5. No offense. Who works at a grocery store or at a business when I can actually write a play that can go to New York and I can inspire some people. Give me a break. Well,
let's talk about that for a minute, Matteo. What was it like to have your play debut in New York?
Good question. So, fantastic. I went to New York. I had the privilege and honor of watching my play, which was the first time ever that I got to see anything of my work live. And what a way to start it in New York. Now, honestly, I wasn't really happy with the New York production, but I was happy with the result. Once I left, I'm like, okay, but the production was okay. It was okay. But once I left, this is what happened. First week, so it was Thursday through Sunday, believe it or not, 2 weeks. Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, and then another Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday afternoon for the second week. So it's basically 3 nights: Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night, and of course Sunday afternoon. So okay, so of course opening night is the Thursday. The preview was when I came in. First of all, the cast was so gracious, so beautiful, and so loving, and some of the nicest people, and some of the most talented people you will ever meet in the theater.
Did you have any choice in choosing who the cast was?
Sadly, no. And that goes down to the director. I don't want to mention his name or what he does, or what company, whatever, but you have the playwright there for a reason. You have the connection for the playwright. Use him. It's the same thing with the songwriter. If you have the songwriter, it's not, can we use your play? Here's $50. We'll see you on opening night. That's basically what kind of the director did. Sad. Anyway, but like I said, and actually the original producer, John Paul Mislapis, who lives in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, he actually has hydrocephalus, which is a disability, water in the brain. He's crippled, but he can't walk very well. He's like limited in mobility, but he's such a nice man. He produced Sorting It Out in Oakville, the world premiere where I played Nick, which it was the autistic character. So I actually had to play him in Oakville, the world premiere. And then the fifth production was New York, and that was the only second live production other than the production. He came to New York because he was producing another play that I got him involved in, which is something way down the line that I really don't want to talk about. But he saw the New York production with me. I was with my aunt. I was here. My John Paul was there, and John Paul's stepbrother. And honestly, me and John Paul felt it, if you know what I mean. Felt the power of this play. Like, I never thought, like, I knew I was going to cry. I knew I was going to do that. Absolutely. Like, but not cry and say, oh, I made it. Going to off-Broadway for 2 weeks is not making it. Going to Broadway for 7 weeks is not going to make it. Think about it. You have to be exposed to extremely the whole world to be known. If in some cases, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at the musicians and singers and all that today. They're all constantly on the radio. Most of the songs of today are garbage, in my opinion. Like, honestly, I hate that because I apologize. Most of the music today is garbage, and I think, sadly, it's hypnosis to the young kids. It's talking with a lot of bad stuff in it, like negative impressions to the kids, and they play it like there was no tomorrow on the radio. So it's because people can get used to it and actually listen to this, actually go to the concert and experience basically a satanic ritual for the people who actually know what I'm talking about. It's that sad, guys. Why can't we bring more positivity, or why can't we teach a play like mine with a bit of hope at the end? And honestly, there's a scene in the end where, you know what I mean, right? There's a scene in the end where I don't want to give it away, but it's only with music and visuals. It's a tableau, so the actors.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about everything.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Besides Jeff Madsen, who else are your inspirations for becoming a playwright?
That's a good question. Jeff Madden was big inspiration. He honestly, him and Frankie Valli is another person. So Jeff played Frankie in Toronto and even Australia. He went to Australia for a few months and he did that show, Jersey Boys again. But that show, Jersey Boys, basically anchored what I do for a living. What I anchored like, but another person who I dearly love and I believe in is Michael Flatley. He's the choreographer of the original Riverdance. He did Lord of the Dance.
Mm-hmm.
Another person who is very inspiring to young people, and he worked his butt off like Jeff and like Frankie. He came from like blue collar as well, and then he became one of the biggest Irish dancing choreographers. And he also talks about integrity, believing in yourself, working hard, never giving up, and all that. And I take those two inspirations and take them to my heart. It's not the music that they do, but it's the integrity that they represent, which a lot of people love celebrities because they're hot, they're cute, they have a good, which is not really a good song, but you know what I mean. But what about the morals? Most people have flaws, right? We all have flaws. That's life. But those two I can bank on because they worked hard to get where they are today. They believed that they could. They honestly, they have so much integrity to the thing, and the work that they do is remarkable. So the person that comes to mind is actually my uncle, Anthony Toole, actually a musician, country rock artist. I actually found last night. He again, he comes from Oakville, Ontario, Canada, which is my hometown. He lives in Milton, which is the city beside. Anthony Toole is a up and coming country rock artist. He's a filmmaker and everything. And he told me again early on, this industry is for, he said, this industry is not for the faint of heart. He said, you have to have nerves of steel to get into this industry. And now I know why. Now I know why Jeff told me to do what I needed to do, have confidence. I had to learn it. Just because somebody said, believe in yourself, doesn't mean that I automatically believe in myself, right? Same thing with hard work and never giving up. And that's what today's generation, I hate to say this for the people who are listening who have kids, that's what the parents, the teachers, everybody are teaching everybody to be lazy. And I hate to say that as a 26 young man. I'm not a politician. I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm an autistic man trying to make a change in this world. And it's so sad that people think, honestly, that things can get handed to them on a silver platter. I'll tell you something. John, who was a guy in New York, wanted to originally produce my play in 2021. He decided to produce it in 2022 because we all know what happened. But he never gave up on the opportunity to do it. And hence why New York.
All right, let's talk a little bit more.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
How were your plays received?
And that's where I want to get into this, because so after I went to New York, I came back and I didn't hear from anybody. So I talked to Giselle, who was one of the cast members, and said, please let me know how the audience liked it. Of course, opening night was sold out. Of course, or of course, mostly sold out.
Now, did your play go from anywhere from New York, or did it just stay in New York?
That's a good question. It just stayed in New York for 2 weeks, but the success of the play was unparalleled. I didn't even expect it. Our producer and director said we probably won't make money. I know why. It's a 25-seat theater. Who's going to play about autism by a Canadian playwright not known in the New York area? Blah, blah,
See,
blah,
what's
blah.
funny is what
Right,
people
you
don't
know,
realize, you
yeah,
hit a nerve
yes,
because every parent in the world or in the New York area is probably
yeah,
going to have a child or know somebody or
Mhm.
know somebody of somebody who has somebody who's autistic
Or it's disability,
or a
exactly. And
disability. And in order to see how somebody lives as being autistic, it's
yeah, of course,
it's an eye opener. And I
of
just had
course,
a guest yesterday who
yeah,
tells me they have a program in Virginia College called VA Lend. The Lend program is all over the world.
okay,
And one of the things they do is
hmm
they place people who want to work who in the industry
right.
working with those who have disabled, and they
That's
put
amazing.
them in the host house.
That's amazing.
And then this way they can open their eyes to what it's like to live with somebody who's autistic or who has a disability and to get the other side of the coin.
Of course,
And it's an amazing thing.
read, and
And I
I
think your play did just that.
thank you.
It gave people,
Thank you.
an eye opener to what it's like to live with
Of course,
autism.
of course. And the fact that my play is so eye-opening for the opening night, so Friday night got 3 people. Saturday night, half sold out. Friday, the first sold out performance.
Congrats.
That's the next week. Sorry. So Thursday night, it was half sold out. Friday night, it was oversold. What that means is we only had 25 seats, 26 people came. I repeat, 25 seats, 26 people came. If
So
I
sold out and one extra person.
right, if exactly, so our producer and director quickly decided to get him a chair. Is if we didn't, he would be, you know what that would be called? Standing room only. So thank goodness they found him a chair and he watched it. But I never had that happen, and
No.
that was just the second of my 4 sold
Now
out.
imagine if your
I did,
play would have hit Broadway,
yeah.
and
Mhm.
you're in one of the big Broadway theaters and you're sold out. That says you've made an impact in the industry.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Reed. I appreciate that. And the last 3 shows, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night, like I said, were all sold out, including the Friday night that was oversold. So I'm looking honestly. I would love to collaborate for people to even read my script and to actually, like, I don't want to change my plays because my plays, like, look at where my plays went. One of them went to New York. It's a half an hour. It's not the best play that I can offer, but it's really impactful. And my goal is to have a lot of stuff. I have a lot of goals in life. I have a lot of ambitions. The pipe dream. One of the pipe dreams is to actually have an autistic cruise line or a cruise line or some sort of place where special needs families can get, like Walt Disney World, but not a theme park. I don't want autism land and Down syndrome. That would be. Reed, I'm not joking. But you know what I mean, right? You know what I mean. I'm
Know
not joking.
what? No,
But
would
you know
be
what?
perfect.
Yeah,
Come see the autistic brain.
exactly, exactly.
Come inside our brain and see what it's like.
Exactly. Nindo, that's funny. But honestly, though, I don't want to be like that because what are we going to have? I don't want to even go in there because that would be insulting to me. For
Actually,
anybody who's scared of
Matteo,
yeah.
that would be a great play.
What do you
The
mean?
autistic brain. You'd have people playing different roles of our brain, of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the ADHD part of the brain, the
Yeah.
autism part of the brain, the thinking process.
Yeah.
And it would be one
No,
person, the autistic person, and then it would go to what our mind is, that person's mind's thinking, and you see, you're the ADHD person just rambling on and on and on and on.
yeah,
And
that's
then
interesting.
the ASD person, it would be,
Mhm.
oh, I like this, I like this. And
Mhm.
then you get an idea of what our brain is like.
Exactly. Now, another thing is talking about education, but and a lot of people when they think about quote unquote education, they think about school, elementary school, high school, and college and post-secondary and internships, all that. I think about the theater because theater is very educational. It's on board. Like I said, you're in a room with other people and you're watching a play unfold, and like you're peeking into this world. This play, my plays could be great for students. Again, I would love to do a school tour in my plays. Now, I know my plays are half an hour. All of them are. I wrote two others. One about inclusive employment, which actually had a reading last year in New York, as well. December at the Tank, which actually lost. My John Paul produced it as well. He's my co-producer in a lot of things. He's a lovely, lovely man. And by the way, for the original production, he gave me $5,000 Canadian out of his disability pocket, out of his disability funds. And he's a disabled person himself. He lives in community housing and all that. But just imagine. And he doesn't even think about that. You know what he said? I was helping a friend, Matteo. And that hits me hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, I'm like, buddy, like, John Paul, I don't know what to say. A person with a disability who's actually worse off than me, no offense, gave me $5,000. He did not know me at the time. He just, let me give you some money.
Your parents must have been shocked.
I was even shocked, yeah. I was shocked. Like my parents never got $5,000 from a disabled person, never. Like, and that's the thing about the disabled market, is it's untapped. So no wonder we're trying to make an impact. We're trying to knock on the down door.
Now let's switch role. Now let's switch from.
Come on, guys. You know what I mean, right?
Now let's switch from.
Yes.
Theater.
Yes.
And playwriting to design.
Yes.
How did you go from playwriting, which is one end of the theater world, to the other end of being behind the scenes and designing sets for a play?
Here's the thing, and this is sad. I'm not a quote unquote official set designer, because most set designers need to go to university for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's that stupid, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. I'm autistic. I have a lot of needs. There's two universities that I have to apply for. They're both an hour away in a city, in a major entertainment city in Toronto, which is half an hour to 45 minutes away. And I have all the supports at home. It's just sad that people don't want to even give me a chance, or give anybody a chance.
I understand that. I mean, totally. I mean,
I'm sorry.
It's, and you probably understand this well as it's the job world.
Yeah.
They see, and I've talked to people countless times about this. The minute you check that little box that says I'm disabled and you circle autism, it's like, say goodbye. You're not going to hear from them at all.
Exactly.
And the minute you don't check it and submit the job, then it becomes, do I tell them anything during my job interview? Or if they hire me, do I tell them then? Because then the question becomes, did I lie to them to get the job?
Yeah.
And can I get fired for that lie?
Exactly. Now here's where my third play comes in, which is The Value of Many. It's about inclusive employment. Let me read you a little something from this. And I want people to listen in on this, because it's the truth. Let me find the thing. So let me set the scene. It's the car scene. And basically there's two people who are businessmen arguing and talking about people with disabilities, okay? Why is it? Sorry, guys, I apologize.
Just relax, Matteo. Just take it easy.
Sorry.
We're not in a hurry here.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah. But I'll tell you something. It's I think on this page, I don't know if this is, sorry about this, guys, but it was the way I promise on this. Bingo. Next page. So basically, the story goes that this play, so I wrote this basically based on people with disability in the job world, and basically these two businessmen are arguing about hiring people with disabilities, right? And honestly, and this is what one of them says. Yes. So somebody says, so Dexter, who's an arrogant businessman, he's not really want a hiring specialist. He said, why would I hire these people? You know what I mean? And the other guy said, give them a chance. It's all about giving people a chance. So Dexter, who's the arrogant guy, he says, listen, in my company, it's about how we can help people make their businesses grow, and I'd always make money. Hiring those people would bring our company down and crush it. Listen, this first things first, money's not everything. Oh, money is everything, Dexter says. How am I supposed to pay my bills working? Larson turns to him and says, I guess people with special needs are asking themselves the darn same question. We are. And ain't that the truth? Of course we are. But people don't think about that. People think about the I hate to say the white supremacists who are, but they are just like us, except we, like I said, we're all one. We're all one. And honestly, like, honestly, just because I have a disability doesn't mean that I cannot do a job. Just because I have a disability doesn't mean that I even be
That's
trained to
why, Matteo,
do it.
that's why more and more big name companies are coming out saying, hey, we now have programs for those who are autistic.
Good,
But
good.
the problem is you got to be autistic and just autistic. The minute you have ADHD and anything else that makes you different,
Yeah.
they're not going to
Now,
take it.
I get it. And
Because
that's,
they want the programmers. They want
of
those who have the mind for math. You
course,
got
yeah.
anything else that interferes with your knowledge of
Yeah.
math or anything else? No.
Yeah. Now, I'll tell you another thing. With the job market, and this is sad.
What is the job market like in Canada
And
for those who are like you and me?
sadly the same as you guys, if not worse, as always. But here's the thing: I hate when these companies, including in the U.S., they say, "Yeah, we would get people with disabilities, but you need a degree to do that. You need a degree to get into a company. Why would you be inclusive when you know that people mostly with higher functioning special needs sometimes cannot even go to university to get the qualification you get? Fucking fools! I'm sorry, but
No, I
I'm
mean, true.
I,
It's the problem is it's almost a catch-22, you think about it.
yeah, exactly.
There are what? I'm not sure about the number, but I'm pretty sure there's
Right,
a huge percentage of us who can't go to school,
right,
who can't
right,
be on our own,
exactly.
even in the commuter
Yeah,
school, can't
yeah,
deal with the
of course.
classes because the level of the education is a little bit higher than we can handle. You got to
Hmm.
be able to deal with other students walking through the hallways, getting to your classes on time.
Exactly. And yeah, and sadly, I was in special ed for 7 years, but I actually had to go back to school to get my diploma. I did an adult school, and but in our life schools every morning, special ed, I'd go, "Good morning, everybody. Let's bring your name on the board. Great job." I felt like this. That first of all, that's one waste of my time to drag a person's name or to, you know what I mean? For the people who are low functioning, I understand. I'm very high functioning. I can walk, I can talk, I can think. That's the number one. What's the weather like today? Do we really need to know what the weather is?
It's
And
like,
I'm positive for dramatic effect for the people to think who
yeah, I
have the
mean, I see what you're saying. I mean,
yeah,
that's why
stupid. Sorry.
teachers need to go through a program to educate
Yes,
them on how to work with those who are autistic.
of course.
Australia has already done it. They
Bless
have
their
two
heart.
colleges in southern Australia
Yep, bless
that
their heart.
the
Right.
assistant minister of autism has put forward a whole thing where if you
Good.
want to get into
Good.
education,
Yeah.
that's great, but part of the curriculum now is you need to take a course in autism
And special needs.
to
But
understand how
exactly
to
it.
work with these kids.
Yeah. But honestly, but schools, the sad thing is you have these college professors, and I hate the college I mean, or the college that anybody went to, or university professors that are getting top dollar and they don't even have a teaching degree, most of them. Then we have teachers on the picket line who have teaching degrees, and I want more money. That's unfair.
No,
But
it is. And then what
I
drives
mean,
me nuts is,
honestly,
I mean, here's a story for you. I was
okay,
in school. I went for my master's in England,
right? Yeah, yeah,
and they know I have a disability advisor.
right.
They told all my other teachers that he's got a disability. He
Hmm.
will be taking on-time testing like all the other kids who are
Right,
disabled. I have one professor
right.
or lecturer
Yeah,
who I had trouble with the course, and I go up to him. I
yeah.
go, can we have a one-on-one and talk about the
Good.
course and go over some of the
Yeah,
material so I kind of
right.
get it? He's like, I
Exactly.
can't do that. if I do it for you, I have to do it for everybody. I'm like, but here's the thing. It's in my record that I am somebody who is
Yeah,
disabled and you gotta do it.
exactly.
I don't care if you can't what you say about everyone else. It is in my record that you gotta do it. And he's like, I'll tell you again, if I do it for you, I gotta do it for everyone. I'm like, well,
Well,
whatever. And I was
I'll-
on top of him every freaking
yeah.
time until he talked with me, and then I still didn't get it.
Well, I'll tell you something. Not that you have to lie to the student, but they don't. But the professors don't even have to tell the students that I'm meeting with you. Honestly, like you can have a one-on-one meeting and not tell any of the freaking students. Do it, do it on like Zoom, do it on the phone, do it like what, like, you know. But that's what people don't think about. They don't want to go the extra mile. It's a
No.
me-centric society today. A me-centric society.
I mean, I get what you're saying. These professors think, hey, I
Yeah,
gave him my time in class. Why should I
me
give
too.
him extra time elsewhere?
I give him my money. We all do, right? It's a business at the end of the day. But it's also sadly, it's a business. And I say that not lightly because at the end of the day, it's a money making business. But on the other side of the coin, we have teachers, like I said, who have sometimes a college diploma from that actual school and from my actual program that don't even know a thing about teaching.
Hmm.
Give me a break.
Now let's switch gears here.
Okay.
Let's go back to theater and everything.
Yeah.
Do you really think you talked about
Yeah.
how you want the theater to help teach with
Absolutely.
become a teaching tool?
Yeah, of
Let's
course.
talk
Yes.
about that. How do you see that helping? Are you just talking about teaching about
Yeah.
autism, or you're talking about teaching in everything general?
Well, for the people who think that theater is not a teaching tool, it is. Because, like I said, people are learning just from the mannerisms that the character who is autistic have. I have the autistic character who I wrote stimming, which a lot. This is a paperclip and twist tie. This is black twist ties, and this is paperclip. I do this in the play. I skim in the play, and of course Ed, who's our arrogant stereotypical, what is he doing? And is actually asking the questions of the audience, like, what is this guy doing? But we don't tell the audience. Here's the greatest thing about the play. We don't tell the audience, oh, that's stimming. That comes in the Value of Many, which is a later play. But because at the end of the day, I want the audience to figure out what exactly he's doing and let him research and let them go home, think about the play, being so moved. I actually want to help these kids. Mom, hey, Mom, guess what I watched today? I watched an amazing play. Or Dad, or Grandpa, Grandma, whatever, whoever you live with, caregivers galore, right? But and that's the thing. Theater touches hearts, minds, but it also makes people think. And I think that's one of the best things about my work is it goes for change, and it does that. So especially in sorting it out with the dialogue, because the dialogue gets so harsh that Ed says, if you think I'm inconsiderate, I think your friend's the R word. I don't want to say it, but I actually put that into play, not to make people uncomfortable, not to make people get angry, to prove a point because it's so damn happy today. And I played Nick, so I didn't hear the audience the big audience. I heard a few reactions for the audience because I was on stage. But when I said, "Don't call me that," it's part of the play. He said, "I already did," and that's the point where I smack my head and I have a meltdown and actually lunge and push him, and then there's a fight, and the fight is broken up by a call from Ed's doctor, who Ed gets something that I do not want to give away, and that's a spiritual humbling of what the play is. And I think, but I'll just tell you that he gets something worse than Nick. Knock on wood, not knock on wood, but you know what I mean. He gets something worse than Nick. And people say, well, that doesn't happen in real life. I know, but of course it's a play. I have to over dramatize it. And the reason that Ed is so, and people say, well, Ed is so over the top. You know why? Because I feel as autistic people, we feel it 10 times more than the friggin' neurotypical world. And that's why it's so over the top. And by the time after Ed gets that and people gasp and feel like literally people gasping, like it was a big slap in the face of the audience, which is a beautiful thing at the theater. Not to slap people, but you know what I mean. And quote unquote metaphorically speaking, if you know what I mean. Then
all right. Anyways,
yes, sorry. then we have 2 other scenes, and by the end of the play, people were weeping in their seats. I'm not
Very
kidding you.
good. I mean,
Thank you.
when you hit people's emotions, that
Of course,
means you've
yeah,
hit that nerve that
good.
things registered in their mind of what's
Of course,
going on.
of course. And most plays don't do that. Like I said, most TV shows, nothing doesn't do that. Basically, it's a whole bunch of lies that's told. The play tells the truth, but the play tells the truth in an honest. Like I said, I hate to say this, but uncomfortable and disturbing way to make the audience understand, to come to the realization with all these characters that it's okay to have a disability. It's okay to be different. I will have, and Nick is a line. I will always be there for you. I will always truly be there. And Nick, and that's basically the last line before the
Right.
bicycle blast scene happens. So,
Right.
and
Now,
I think, sorry, Reed, I would like to just say,
right,
I
go
would
on.
love to do this play in schools. I would love to do a huge school tour. If anybody's listening, please contact me. I would love to do a collaboration with a school tour, or even just a high school production. It's like I say, it's not my best work. There's a lot of flaws in my play. There's a lot of flaws in everything. But the heart of the play is honestly taking a mirror and holding it to society, saying, this is what you see, but this is what we actually experience. Not even see, this is actually what we experience on a day-to-day life. And I think that's pretty powerful, in my opinion. Go ahead, sorry.
Do you have any plans for any new plays in the works?
That's a good question. I have tons of ideas, tons of ideas. One of them would be about bullying and about YouTube videos, about how people just take YouTube videos on the street and basically go up to people pranking them, which I think is awful. Awful that people do that. Not only especially, but to anybody. Why would you prank a quote unquote civilian coming out of a damn store? Are you that nuts? What is it today? Salted peanuts? Or just plain, you know what I mean, right, guys?
Yeah. And finally, Matteo, how can people
Yeah.
find out more about you and all the plays you've written?
Yes. So I would love to link you with my website, and you can put it on the bottom. So it's about me /Matteo Esposito or something like that. If I can give you the link, I would love for you to share it. And I would
I'll
love
put
to
the link in the bottom.
please do. And my email is on the bottom. So please, if you like this conversation, I don't mind to be on more podcasts. I wouldn't mind for people to collaborate with me. I don't mind. I'm a singer-songwriter, I'm a set designer, I'm a playwright. Let's do something together. Let's change this world. Instead of demonizing this world, let's change it, guys. What does it take to put a little seed of kindness in somebody and make a change?
And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That was Matteo Esposito, singer, songwriter, playwright, one hell of an amazing guy. Thank you, Matteo.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, guys. Hope you enjoyed it.